Here we go. Mike White. Damn
Yeah.
okay goes to Mike White, by the way.
Sure.
We're giving it to Mike White.
Damn okay.
It was amazing.
He played great.
Most first-half pass yards, 235 by a Jets quarterback since Chad Pennington.
Whoa.
In 2006. People were saying that during the game. They were like, man, this is as good as Chad Pennington in 2006. First Jets quarterback since Ken O'Brien with multiple games of 300 or more passing yards and 3 touchdowns. People were saying that too. Man, this guy's like Ken O'Brien out there.
Don't laugh at Ken O'Brien. He was a hell of a player.
He was good, right, back in the day.
So was Chad Pennington. How dare you?
All right, they were good.
Damn Lions fans giggling at the Jets over here.
So he was good, and I'm sure I didn't dare go in there. You've been a staunch supporter of Zach Wilson.
Sure.
You know, it's been tough defenses that they've played, which is true. It's an offense that hasn't really clicked, and there's not a whole lot of talent around it, which is very true. But Mike White went in there against a Bears defense and looked really good and made all the throws and made the plays. Maybe it wasn't the greatest defense out there, but he made the plays out there, and Jets fans are loving it right now. Your honest and fair assessment of what you saw from Mike White on Sunday.
Well, he played really well. There's no, I'm not – there's nothing you can say negatively. He did a great job. You know, the offense did have flow. He does have a natural feel for the game. And do I look at that and go, yeah, is that something that he has over Zach Wilson? Certainly. You know, Zach Wilson, I think, is a little too into, how the throw looks and stuff like that maybe at times. And I think Robert Saleh referenced that. But, White, was in control of the offense. I thought for the rainy day, controlled the football really well and did a lot of good things. So, all that, again, I have nothing negative to say. My negativity about this situation is the situation itself and how the Jets handled it. That would be the thing that I worry about. And I don't agree with the decision to bench Zach Wilson. Not at all. And I would sit here and probably tell you that look, I think there's a good chance that, we just talked about Aaron Rodgers. Maybe not. I wouldn't be shocked if Zach Wilson said, see you later to the Jets, or it just doesn't work out. I would not be shocked if I'm Zach Wilson, I would be thinking at the end of the year going, maybe I'll just go somewhere else, or you guys get rid of me. It's all good. I mean, I think that's fair. And here's my 2 cents behind this. Again, all right, so this is – I don't even know how I want to really orchestrate this, but I think this is where I'm going to go. Do I think Zach Wilson could have played that well yesterday? No, I don't. I agree with that. I still think Zach Wilson's top-end potential is greater than Mike White's. I still think that was a game where if Zach Wilson played, they would have won 28-10 instead of 31-10. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Maybe his stats wouldn't have been 300-plus yards and all of that. Probably would have had a few more eye-popping passes where, whoa, that was right. So I understand that. But to me, here's my big point of the whole thing. You've gone 5-2 with Zach Wilson, who had to play the 7 craziest defenses in football. And he battled through it, and you went 5-2. And I know it wasn't all pretty. I understand that. He's still a young quarterback. You obviously believed in him to draft him at number 2. He didn't do training camp, as we talked about. He missed the first few games of the year. You should have been 0-3 without him. We know the Browns it up and gave you a nice little win, okay? So now you go 5-2 with him. And, he's learning the game, and he hasn't been perfect. This is the game you let him play to gain more confidence. The Bears' defense stinks as of late. They've given up on the year. So, and not only do they stink, they were missing their 3 best players yesterday. I mean, so that's where I go, this is a game where you stick with your franchise quarterback and let him now, hey, whoa, wait, look at the throws and plays, and we got the offense back on track.
It would have been a get-right game, most likely, for Zach Wilson.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, why wouldn't have been? I mean, again, this is where people go, well, most likely or might have been. You mean the guy that beat the Bills and the Packers and all the now all of a sudden, well, most likely he would have beat the Bears. That's where I just I get annoyed with that a little bit. Yeah. And I don't agree with it for the future of the Jets organization. And I hear people say, well, maybe they made this decision for now, right? They had to do what was best for now. They would have won this game if we put a lot of people at quarterback yesterday. They're in a different class than the Bears right now, and especially without Justin Fields. So that's where I don't like the decision. But I don't want that to take away from Mike White and what he did, and that's great. But I am interested and where this goes with the Jets and Zach Wilson, because I think they've messed this situation up now, and they let the fan base, in my opinion, and the New York media kind of control them here in this situation.
So here's a question from Derbio Bachter, kind of along those lines. He goes, damn okay, Jets offense. The contrast between the ineffectiveness of the Wilson-led offense and the way the offense hummed with White at quarterback was obvious. Now, given the performance and the reported preference for him in the locker room, do you think we will see a switch back at quarterback anytime soon?
No. And what are they going to do? No, Mike White, now you're going to play them? Now he's going to play the crappy Minnesota Viking defense this week who can't defend the pass and put up more good stats? And then we're all going to look at it and go, well, yeah, we're going to bring back Zach Wilson? Like, please, we get bullshit. Get the out of here with that. There's no way that's going to happen right now. There's no way. Now, here's what I want to say. Like, hey, he did great. He did. He ran the offense. He did all the offense. Looks easy when you can run the ball at any time you want and you're protected. And hey, we got the ball back. They're off the field again. We're staying in rhythm. I mean, everything played in favor of Mike White in this game. Zach Wilson hasn't had the opportunities and got to play the teams to benefit from that. So that's where I just don't like it. But I don't want to take away from Mike White. I'm not trying to be a hater on Mike White at all.
He played well.
He played well. And Mike White has some things about his game where I look at him and go, he could be a starter in the league in a lot of ways. You know,
his passing chart right here, he didn't throw the ball that far down the field. His average depth of target was 5.8 yards down the field, the third lowest of any quarterback this week. But this is what I'll say, too.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. If you're a high draft pick, you get the benefit of the doubt, and you get a little more run, then maybe even you should. You get a little longer leash, right? And so Zach Wilson does have the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Here's Mike White, 27-year-old, spent a couple years at South Florida, 3 years at Western Kentucky, was drafted in the 5th round. He's getting some run now. And no, he didn't have to face those tough defenses that Zach Wilson had to face, but he also didn't have the opportunity to play against those and maybe impress, right? And so this is his chance, right? And not a whole lot of 5th-round picks, 27-year-old quarterbacks get that chance. And so I think a lot of Jets fans out there are like, this is his chance. He's earned it. He deserves it. Zach Wilson hasn't blown the doors off with anything, and so let's ride him until he messes up and looks like Zach Wilson out there. And so I think there's a part of me that's happy to see a 5th-round guy get his chance.
I hear you there. I mean, it's a guy that seems like he's done everything right, and he's a good dude. I've been around him a little bit. I mean, he's a guy that I'm sure the locker room likes, you know, and I understand that. Now, what I will say to our question here, right, that the one thing that probably concerns me more than anything is, you could see that like Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson were happy to have Mike White on the field. That makes me believe that there's some sort of friction or something maybe there.
Or like Zach has not connected with those guys.
Maybe, right.
Which is part of the job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, as an NFL quarterback.
100%.
Right? Those are your weapons. You can't discard those guys and bring in guys you get along with better. It's like it's your job, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong there? It's your job to get along with the
It definitely is.
weapons.
Yeah, you don't have to be best buddies, but you want to have some sort of camaraderie and connection there, for sure. And that seems off a little bit. It does. So that where, again, I don't know all the answers to that. I have known and talked to a lot of people within the Jets organization over the last year. I've never heard them say the team doesn't love Zach Wilson. I mean, that's where I would just be surprised. But maybe when it comes to those two people and the fact that they didn't get the ball through that winning streak, that's where they start to hold it personal maybe to the quarterback a little bit too, a young receiver. And they start to blame the quarterback, and they think it's personal, like, oh, he's not giving the ball, where, no, he's just a young guy who's playing some good defenses and probably, didn't give you the ball all the times you should have, but he's learning just like you have, because I've seen you guys mess up routes that you weren't supposed to run either, right? So that's where, but I'm like, I don't know where this goes, and I don't see how Mike White won't be the starter going forward, and I don't think this is an easy one to prepare for Zach Wilson going forward. I don't. I understand Zach Wilson being very disappointed here, and I think the Jets have made a messy bed for themselves in this situation.
Well, their defense is going to keep them in games, right?
Yeah.
And so that's if Mike White can hold on to the ball and not make the big turnover, which Zach Wilson actually did a pretty good job of in a lot of those games that they won.
Just the 2 losses, right?
The Jets have held 6 of their last 7 opponents to 17 points or fewer out there. So if you're the Detroit Lions, you go, hey, we'll give you, Jets, a 2nd-round pick. All you got to do is give us Zach Wilson. I do think it's kind of interesting because there were a lot of teams that you know of that liked Zach Wilson going into the draft.
Right.
That probably still could use a quarterback in their future franchise quarterback. So if they feel like you do, like a little bit of a messy situation, He wasn't as bad as it looked. They're in a tough spot because they're a playoff team now. I don't know. I mean,
I'd be interested too. It depends on how this year finishes out. It really is. But I think the Jets, and this is something to watch for. Yeah. I don't think it's, as we sit here right now and how the situation was handled and all of that, I just look at it and go, I could see things getting messy between both parties after the season. I could. I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't.
All right, so that was Morgan. Thank you for that. You can go sit down. Chris comes back in here. One more thing I want to say about this. That's right.
Yeah.
I knew there was one more thing. I pulled the Colombo this time. There are some people out there now saying that Zach Wilson hoodwinked everyone out there, draft evaluators, teams, GMs, based on one throw at his pro day.
Yeah, that's
Remember
stupid.
that throw?
He
that
was already in the top 2 conversation before that throw in the pro day. Right. All right. So come on, people just latching on to bullshit on social media. That's where you got to go. And yeah, listen. It's a great conversation. It really is. Like I even see here, we had a question here by @CompassTraveler. Right?
You want to do that one?
Well, yeah. Just read that.
All right. Compass Traveler says, I know Mike White was versus the Bears defense, but watching him and Geno Smith makes me think, is there real value for a young quarterback to learn a system and develop on the practice field instead of the pressure of being a starter right away?
Well, there is value to that. There is. I still think there's greater value in being on the field and learning that way, as you know. I'm always a believer that.
Unless it goes like this for Zach Wilson.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Geno Smith, it's been a long time. Geno Smith has gone beyond practice field. This is 10 years later, so it's not a development process for him anymore. Yeah, there is value to that. I understand that, but I think there's more value to playing. And I think, again, that's where I argue, and I know that's where Tony Dungy was on my side a little bit too. If you're trying to build a culture and something for the future, you stick with your quarterback through those lumps right there. And you just keep fighting and going through because you would have got the win yesterday and you would have gone, hey, I know he didn't play good against them, but look, he played pretty good yesterday against the Bears, and we're 6-2 with him as a starter, and we're going in the right direction, right? So that's where it just upsets, to me, future plans, everything, and that's where, like I said, I'll have my popcorn to be ready for after the season. I have a hard time believing that it's going to ever go back to Zach Wilson this year.
That's it. We've seen the last of him this year and maybe ever. So they got the Vikings. They got do you know who they have after that? Do we have their schedule?
Yeah, I did.
I think it's kind of interesting just
Here
to
we
see
go.
when
Vikings,
it could go
Bills,
south.
Lions.
Ooh, Bills.
Right? So they're going to play 3 out of the 4 worst pass defenses you can imagine here, and Mike White's going to get to play them. Mm-hmm. Right? The Bears, the Vikings, and the Lions. Right, so and he's going to get to end the season against the Seahawks, another horrible defense. Right, so you got the Jaguars, where we know that's a pretty good defense talent-wise, and maybe give them some issues. But yeah, all things there speak to me of a guy that I go, oh, he's going to put up good stats against those teams.
And he's going to start a playoff game.
Exactly right. And then your number 2 pick will be ruined, and you've ruined the situation. The Jets will have nobody to blame but themselves.
Will be fascinating
to watch. And that's fine. I mean, that's
way.
fine. If they're comfortable with Mike White going in the future, then that's cool too. It's not wrong if that's where they're comfortable. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.